Episode 84. And a miserable time was had by all. Have you ever wondered what the guy was trying to do when he discovered you can get milk from a cow? Alright, sit back, shut up, relax. A 10-minute off-road podcast is about to begin. Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki G. I'm here to inform, entertain, and delight your ear holes with all things off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. Why 10 minutes? That's about how long I have until they find out where I'm at. I'd like to remind everybody you can listen to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Overcast, Breaker, Castbox, Popacast. Boy, I am going to start a podcast hosting website and call it Popacast. Pocket Cast is what I meant to say. Radio Public and Stitcher, but never iHeartRadio or Pandora, because they are just fucking pricks. Yes, I just earned my explicit rating. You can contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast and be ignored by the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. That's 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment on our very many social media platforms, such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I guess that's about it, because Twitter is kind of dead unless you're a politician or a celebrity. And TikTok, well, I don't know, man. I watch TikTok videos, but I am not a member of the TikTok platform. It's just weird and strange to me, and it just seems like it's not for my generation. Alright, so we'll dive right into it. This week, I just got home yesterday from the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, and I gotta tell you, I did not have a good time. Miserable. Toledo Jeep Fest, I had a great time this month. The Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, I do not think I'll be returning to them. I had a pleasant drive up there. I did it in 2 days, although it's only a 3.5 hour drive. Got there around 11 o'clock, a little bit later than I was planning, but the route that I chose, the Gaia Maps showed it as a maintained road, and they're right. The road I took from, let's see, well, I don't know where I was at exactly. I was somewhere near Buzzard Roost, heading towards Pigeon Forge. Took a couple of back roads. They were, like I said, Gaia was showing it as maintained roads, but they were very poorly maintained. And so it set me back an hour. Got to Pigeon Forge, got to the arena, and let me tell you, parking was a nightmare. 2 hours to park. They had all these parking lots. You pulled in, and they were full. And you're pulling in, there's 20 Jeeps in front of you, 1,000 Jeeps behind you, all looking for a parking spot. And you're just driving up and down the rows hoping somebody leaves so you can get their parking spot. And it was miserable. And Pigeon Forge, the cops on bikes were out there writing people tickets that were parked illegally. So I was going to park on the grass next to a bunch of Jeeps and thought, man, this will be safe. And then I saw the guy on a bicycle coming up, giving people tickets. Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, you guys sucked when it comes to parking. Do better on the parking. There's no way it should take me just as long to park as it did to get there. It was horrible. And then when you're in the next J, idling for 2 hours, that, you're questionable whether your Jeep's going to die right there. Got in, got parked, got in, ate. Like I said, by the time I worked up an appetite just trying to park, so by the time I parked, got in there, found something, it was 3 hours. Place was packed full of people, crowded. Nah, it was not a good experience for me. I was kind of put off. I just kind of sat in a corner and hid, basically. Tried to find some people that I know. And so I was there a few hours and I just gave up. Said, you know what? I've got a long drive home. I'm going home. So on the drive home, I got probably a third of the way, and the Jeep started acting funny. So when I pulled off the highway, let the Jeep cool down a little bit, and limped it on home. Now, when I say acting funny, when I was cruising down the highway about 75 miles an hour. I'm really digging the regearing the Jeep, and everything's running fine on the engine wise, but transmission, it it seemed like I just slammed it into neutral. I'm driving down the road, all of a sudden, brrr, RPMs jump up high, forward motion stopped, pulled over. I let it cool down, had some lunch, debating whether I should call a tow truck and get it towed home, or get it towed to a four-wheel drive shop or somewhere in Asheville. So I'm eating lunch on my phone, seeing if there's any recommendations anybody knows for shop in Asheville. I thought, you know what? Make it easier on a tow truck driver. I'm just going to limp it to the next exit. The next exit was about 6 miles away. It was mostly all downhill. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to see what I can do. Started up, ran great. I noticed when I got to about 65 miles an hour, the transmission started slipping. So I pulled off the next exit, which luckily there was a McDonald's there. I sat in McDonald's for about an hour, eating lunch, scrolling through the internet, trying to look to see what to do. And I said, you know what? If it seems to be giving me problems over 65 miles an hour, I'm going to take back roads all the way home. And the problem with that is, to get to Charlotte through Asheville, get to Charlotte from Asheville, you have to go through the Green River Gap, which is, I don't know, pretty serious. So to do that, I had to take a road down to the bottom of the mountain, so to speak, and zigzag the bottom of the mountain to 74 and then get on. Long story short, Asheville, which is only a 2-hour drive from my house, took me about 5 hours to get home. I got home, I was beat. And this Smoky Mountain Jeep invasion trip was the worst for me. I did not enjoy it. Last year, I don't think I went last year. But the year before, when I went, great time. I don't know what it is about it. Few differences between the Smoky Mountain Jeep invasion and Toledo. Toledo is more organized, put on by the city. Smoky Mountain Jeep invasion is just like a big party for just regular folks. You see a lot of the like SEMA builds up in Toledo Jeep Fest, and you see a few of that here in the Smoky Mountain Jeep invasion, but it's mostly ordinary people just going up there, looking around. You see a lot of mall crawlers. I've never seen so many friggin' ducks in my life. It's a good event. I know a lot of people that went there and had a good time. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any of them. If you've never been to it, go to it, but be prepared. It's getting so out of hand with the overcrowding and parking that it's not enjoyable, at least not for me. Now, the trip up there, I drove up there, Forest Service roads, camped for the night, had an awesome time, loved it. I'm going to talk about that next week. And, going to Toledo Jeep Fest, I kind of did the same thing. I got off the highway and loved it. The trip up there was worth going up there. All right, so I've rambled on long enough. Until next time, this is Nikki G saying, wheel what you got and be happy.